Okay, let's get this show on the road. Good morning again, and a very warm welcome to this live webinar hosted by Liquit. My name is Linda Karen, and I am responsible for marketing at this great company. I'm not going to take too much of your time this morning, but I do want to cover a few things before I hand over to Chuck, who has prepared a great presentation or a great session for you. We are recording this session, and we'll be sharing it via our YouTube channel. And you will also receive a link to the recording in a follow-up email you'll receive. If you're interested, a copy of the presentation will also be made available. And we highly encourage you to ask your questions. You see there is a Q&A box on the tool. Please go ahead and ask your questions. We will try to answer as many of the questions. We'll do it at the end of the session. For technical questions, we also have our colleague Nico Ziek, who's the Director of Technology and Solutions, standing by. So please ask your questions and we'll get to them. And now if you come up with questions after the session, feel free to reach out to any of us. You can contact Chuck directly. You'll see some of his details later on the screen as well as Nico's. Or reach out to one of the many social channels that we have. Okay, I think it's time to get to the interesting stuff. I'm going to clear the floor and hand over to my colleague, Chuck Brady. And a few words about Chuck. He joined us about 4 months ago, and he is with us to help us to grow and scale the business. And he's done this before. He's been in the IT business for over 20 years, so lots of experience. And the great thing is there's business as well as technical experience that he brings along. And I think I'm just going to hand it over to you, Chuck.
Thank you, LK. Really appreciate that, and welcome everyone. We appreciate you taking the time to listen to us today. I want to start by saying that I'm sure we're all sick of it. However, it is still the reality, and the pandemic has caused a seismic shift in business operations and technology these days. Our norms have completely shifted to social distancing, wearing masks everywhere we go. However, it's not just keeping 6 feet away from the person next to you that's changed. It is a fundamental shift in the way we live and do business. Very few events in our history have changed the fabric of business as much as the COVID-19 virus has. So let's take a look at how most organizations have reacted, how they've kind of put together a quick fix to try to react to the quarantine. Now, you might think these are ambiguous numbers, but overnight, most organizations had to shift their employees from working in the office one day to being completely remote the next. Cloud demand went from 20% to 59%. Full-time remote workers went from an average of about 3% to over 64% overnight. And infrastructure requirements more than doubled from 32% to 72% almost instantaneously. So most companies went for the quick fix, right? And that was predominantly, let's put a VPN up. Let's make our Microsoft licenses available online. Things like that, pretty much made everybody think that, that this should only last a small amount of time. So we assumed that it would only be a few weeks to flatten the curve. However, here we are going into 9 months, and the foundation of those quick fixes, a lot of companies we talk to are saying they're beginning to crack. The quick fixes that enabled most companies to get people remote and have remote access are causing long-term problems that won't just go away. A lot of companies are experiencing issues with their help desks being overloaded, and support teams are becoming overwhelmed. Maintenance, support, upgrades, they're all going to the back burner, which introduces even more risk than usual. And most companies' current state can't sustain this type of usage into the long-term future. And that brings up a good point. You know, most companies are at a point now where they're thinking that they'll sustain the remote workforce for maybe another 12 months. And as you can see, the foundation is cracking. But in order to really kind of understand the dilemma, we have to kind of move back before the pandemic. And, you know, creating a flexible long-term solution for a remote workforce seems to be extremely complex because the user experience has drastically evolved over the years. And as a result, the user demand has evolved, and the users have become extremely tech savvy and sophisticated. We're no longer supporting an organization where technology is too complex for the layperson to understand. So we're in a position where these tech savvy users expect the same user experience on their work devices as they do have on all their personal devices. They know how to be productive. They just need the right tools and capabilities available to enable them to access their applications and do their jobs. However, there is some tension between both the end user community and IT. But as the user community has evolved, the back-end IT infrastructure has had to evolve as well. However, as users become more tech savvy and demand more capabilities, in some cases we see the end user community or line of business sidestepping IT to evaluate and implement their own type of technologies. But IT is accumulating more technology to support and sustain the infrastructure, as you can see here. And these are real facts given by Forrester. 60% of companies are still on Server 2008, while 43% of organizations are still running Windows 7, a larger amount, 52% on Windows XP. So IT is faced with a huge challenge to facilitate what users are demanding while trying to maintain the corporate applications and systems that just can't move forward. And that's typically why they're accumulating so many technologies, is the applications that are core, that are key to their business, are kind of stuck back in the legacy technology, if you will. So managing these legacy systems takes more time and attention to support and maintain, which in turn increases user disruption even more, causes even more stress on IT and the stress between IT and the line of business as they continue to struggle between legacy and leading edge technologies. IT is barely getting by with just trying to make it all work. Some say the cloud is the answer, but is the cloud out of reach? Creating a long-term solution and a more flexible, open solution. Most resilient leaders and organizations see their current situation as an opportunity to modernize their technology backbones and scale to the cloud. Cloud consumption has risen considerably since the beginning of this year alone, based on the pandemic. A recent Logic Monitor survey concluded that IT decision makers are anticipating a decline in on-premise workloads by 2025. So that's 5 years away, which is rather bold if you really kind of look at the challenges that they're facing while moving to the cloud. In another recent article from Deloitte Consulting senior architect David Linthicum, he outlined that the organizations that move quickly have an opportunity to rethink how technology is enabling virtual work. as well as the remote workforce and supporting the remote workforce. These companies want to use their move to the cloud as a competitive differentiator, but it sounds much easier than it is. There are all kinds of barriers and challenges when it comes to adopting the cloud. But according to another recent report from Dimensional Research, around 73% of cloud migration projects are taking a year or longer to complete. Of that 73%, some 30% said they believe their migration will take up to 2 years due to the complexities of the back-end systems and legacy infrastructure. What makes most companies hesitant is the anticipated disruption to the end users and the business at large. Some organizations are deprioritizing or delaying non-essential cloud migration plans as they already are dealing with a lack of internal expertise. They have serious time constraints, anticipated or assumed foreseen barriers, and the overall challenges and risks they assume come along with the whole migration to the cloud. They're concerned that their existing technologies won't be compatible, which puts them at a huge disadvantage. So this begs the question, is the remedy worse than the sickness? Interestingly enough, in their recent symposium on the upcoming trends of 2021, Gartner, their VP of research, Brian Burke, outlined an interesting concept called anywhere operations. And Burke basically outlines the need for companies to deploy a flexible infrastructure that'll sustain users wherever they choose to work with the same or better conditions as they had when they were in a physical office. Now, this idea, although fantastic in concept, seems to be an awfully high mountain to climb without some type of new platform to facilitate such a huge endeavor. The concept includes a variety of disparate concepts and technologies. He states that so many of organizations focus on how they can make things work, opposed to having a solid foundation with processes and best practices and secured environment. However, there are so many gaps and incompatibilities to consider when you need to deliver technology to sophisticated users who expect so much when your current resources are so limited. And as you can see here, this is just a fraction of the various tools and technologies needed to not only configure an environment to support remote access, but also to manage and maintain that environment. There's also so many different questions out there in terms of what cloud do we move to? What technologies do we adopt? What do we leave behind? Do we use gateways or a VPN? Do we use a storefront? All these questions come to mind, and there's really nothing easy out there except, of course, when Liquit comes into play. So our founders saw this coming. They experienced it firsthand with customers and decided to develop a platform that could solve every aspect of this challenge while providing a flexible and open technology that either fills the current gaps with the organization within the current state, or can replace the legacy tools and technologies that are no longer relevant in the modern age. So Liquit goes beyond the traditional sense of application delivery and workspace management by providing an open and flexible architecture that adapts to whatever environment, legacy or leading edge, that is currently in place or being considered in the future. Liquit provides every user access to every application running on every platform, accessible from every device. So Liquit simplifies every key aspect of managing anywhere operations. And full disclosure, Gartner named us in 2018 one of their cool vendors. And the scope of what they outlined in terms of the anywhere operations falls directly in line of what our platform really kind of helps solve. So cloud image management, we automate the deployment and configuration of every application automatically. We automate updates and patches for every application. We provide rapid and seamless migrations to the cloud from any platform. I know it sounds pie in the sky, but it's true. And we do all this without any disruption to the users or to the line of business. And that's forever. So Liquit is the platform that provides the long-term solution to the problems that the quick fix imposed on your business due to the COVID-19 crisis. However, whatever your current state, Liquit can not only provide value in the way you automate the management of your backend systems, deliver applications, and provide security. Liquit also provides a gateway to future technologies, so you're not locked into any one vendor or system in the future. So how do we do that? We do it through our unique smart icon technology. Every icon the user sees appears to be as if the application is installed on their device. And in some cases, if it's the most optimal for their situation, it very well may be installed on their device. However, smart icons remove all the complexity of the back end from the end user, simplifies it. Every smart icon delivers every application based on the user's context. So what does that mean? If I'm in the office connected via the Ethernet behind the firewall as the most optimal configuration to provision that application to my desktop for the best user experience, that's what Liquit will deliver it to. However, if I'm at home on my Wi-Fi logged in through the VPN, then Liquit might deliver the version that's software as a service, or the online version of the application for the best results. Every application is configured for every possible scenario, and Liquit has the intelligence to determine the most optimal configuration for the best user experience, and it does it extremely fast. So by decoupling the applications from the back end, Liquit eliminates end user disruption forever. So no matter what happens on the back end, maintenance, upgrades, or even a full-blown cloud migration, Liquit isolates the users and keeps them connected to the apps that run the business. Liquit also helps free up IT by eliminating a lot of the tedious tasks around managing the back end. We automate the image management, packaging, patch, release, and deployment processes through our admin console. Even major migrations are simplified with Liquit. The cost savings for Liquit provides a huge return on investment due to the reduction of time, cost, and risk associated with managing your environment, which frees up IT to focus on innovation opposed to tedious operational tasks, as well as continuous end user uptime, which of course makes users more productive and leads to overall business productivity. And the advantage of automating the support and maintenance of systems and environments, as well as rapid migrations to new systems and technologies without disruption. So you can test, you can innovate, you can find new technologies or new ways to configure your applications and deliver those to your end users without disruption. So that means you can migrate on your own timeline. or you can do it instantaneously when the users are saying, we need access to these applications from these devices, or we want to incorporate a new system in place. So Liquit really is that open and flexible technology platform that can sustain an organization for the long term with a remote workforce. Liquit makes anywhere operations the reality today, as well as future-proofs your entire infrastructure to not only prepare your organization for any major disruptions in the future, which we hope never happens again, but also helps seamless migration to new technologies and infrastructures in the future. So with that, who is Liquit? Well, interestingly enough, we're global headquartered in Ridderkerk, the Netherlands, and we've been around for 5 years. We just celebrated our 5-year anniversary. Our US headquarters are here in Chicago. That's where I'm speaking to you from. We have 400 customers all throughout Europe, customers in upwards of 100,000 to 200, 300,000 users. So it's field tested and approved. We are a Microsoft partner. We work with them on the Windows Virtual Desktop side of things, as well as their cloud infrastructure, Azure. We also partner with various independent software vendors such as VMware and Avanti, as well as Citrix and others that we have relationships with. We have several well-known customers, BBVA, KPM, and Certus. So we are a very well-established organization who is now moving into the US. One partner referred to us as the best kept secret for the future. So with that, okay, let's open it up for some questions.
Yes, thanks so much, Chuck. One question came in. Does Liquit support all the accumulating technologies, everything from mainframe all the way to SaaS? I think there's, I think you think about that, but.
Well, we do. However, I think Nico could probably answer the question as far as mainframe is concerned.
Yeah, well, hello, thanks, Chuck. Hello, everybody,
Sure.
by the way. Yeah, it depends on the mainframe. So sometimes Citrix is called a mainframe, or it's just a running app. So in common practice, most commonly the answer is yes, but in real world scenarios, we should work together, of course.
Okay. Another question came in. Can you elaborate a little bit about what clouds are supported?
Sure. And might take some time, but here's the short answer. Any of them. Any cloud infrastructure, whether it's, Microsoft Azure, Amazon, Google, we can work with IBM, Oracle, you name it, we can work with it. And then any infrastructure like hyper-converged Nutanix or VMware's technology as well.
Okay. What about, maybe that's more of a question for Nico, but how about migration? How easy or difficult is it?
Well, that's an easy question. So the first idea is to use what you already have. I see some new questions also coming up. So first of all, we can simply plug in into existing technology. So you're ready to migrate to your new solution, and then Chuck showed you the way our smart icons will work. So first, you connect to, for instance, your VMware session or your Citrix session, read out which application you have available and publish them to your end users. And after that, you can create a scenario underneath it, connecting to Windows Virtual Desktop or a native installed app on an endpoint. With our smart filters and smart technology, the user will not notice the difference. So the user then is already migrated. Easy as that. So for an IT admin, you get the freedom at hand. And on the other part, for the end user, there is no difference. So there's no longer a user impact in migrations. So I hope this answers the question.
Okay, wonderful. Great, more questions coming in. How is this better than VMware Horizon and application pools or ThinApp that are available there? Who wants to take that one?
Shall I do that one, Chuck?
Yes, please.
I guess so. So Ed, thank you for your question, by the way. So this is a question that contains multiple questions in one. So yeah, VMware Horizon is typical the VDI solution. So we are not a virtualization platform. We are a platform to deliver and deploy and configure any app. So we are a deployment solution, a workspace management solution, a device management technology, but also a solution aggregator. So we work together with VMware, we work together with Citrix, we work together with Microsoft, we work together with our own system, with Ivanti. So a lot of other solutions, let's make it that way. So you can pick and choose to create your ultimate environment. So what we can do is for the majority of people use an RDS session because they are task workers, it will save you money. And because you don't see the difference anymore, put your power users on VMware Horizon. And then for application pools, so we can create an icon. We can create an icon behind one single application that is an MSIX, an AppV, a ThinApp, a local install app, and everything together. And we can deploy that application to a thin client, a PC, a laptop, a tablet, Citrix environments, create your golden images on VMware. We can deploy it anywhere. For the user, simply click and run. You have complete freedom at hand to choose all the technologies you want to use and to aggregate. And to do so, we give you deployment, so imaging, on endpoints, on thin clients, on Citrix environments, on, well, basically any environment. So we can even create Windows Virtual Desktop images. We do the workspace management around it. Also on all systems, we are able to bypass, for instance, the write filters in some cases on thin clients even. So you can easily deploy updates on your thin clients. We do the single sign-on. So when the user is working on your own device, we provide you with single sign-on. So now you don't have to have that full VMware functionality, VMware suite again, which is in our perspective pretty expensive, but use the stuff you need and leave all the rest behind. So I hope this answers the question, but this one is perhaps also one for a technical deep dive, which we can schedule, of course, if people are interested.
Yeah. Good point. I have more questions, and I see we still have some time. Do you have any technology that would allow you to connect a laptop to legacy machinery? And I think the examples here are USB to RS-232 cable. I don't know what that means, but I hope you do.
I think it's hard to interpret this question. To connect a laptop to legacy machinery. So we don't do any interfacing if the hardware is directly connected or something. So I suspect the answer for this one is it varies, but in my educated guess, it might be a no. But I want to further investigate that one if you would love to. So please send us some more information and we might be able to help.
Okay, I'll take a note from the person who asked the question and we'll follow up offline. Does it help with load balancing between different cloud and DR?
Yeah, DR stands for disaster recovery. So I'll take that one also, Chuck.
Yes, please do.
Yes, it does. This is a typical example. So a couple of months ago, you all had a Citrix NetScaler issues due to security. With Liquit, that wouldn't be an issue. So what we are able to do, we can create a true single image for your environment. For instance, your on-premise Citrix environment, and you want to go to Windows Virtual Desktop in the cloud. We can create one single image. So what we can do, we can create smart icons. We can connect to your Citrix environment on-premise, but then first detect whether or not your environment is still up and running and if there is capacity available. Otherwise, we will go with our smart icons automatically to the second task, which will start and deploy a Windows Virtual Desktop machine in the cloud. So the user is not affected in any ways. The management is still pretty easy and you can run everything anywhere. So yeah, it's good for different clouds and good for disaster recovery. Pick the best solution from the best cloud and stick it all together with Liquit. So I hope this answers your question.
Next question. Can Liquit work with Micro Focus ZenWorks desktop containers?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay.
So the statement is like, we leave no app behind. So basically, you should be able to deploy any app. So yeah, that's the idea.
Okay. And then I have one more question that also came in. Can you distribute an application for a single use and then remove it again?
Yeah, that's possible. So we can do automated tasks in a variety of ways. So for a user clicks on an app, distribute that app. And when the user is disconnecting the session, first task is remove everything that should be removed. And it can be an app fee, can be a physical app, it can be whatever you want it to be removed. So we work with full contextual awareness. So scenarios like, okay, hybrid scenarios, I have a laptop, I work in my office, click on my app, it runs on my local device. When I go home, Liquit will automatically detect I'm external. So let's launch seamless without the user knowing it, a VPN session. Click on the app, it simply runs. We do the drive mapping. Then when the user moves from his office PC at home to his private laptop or tablet, which he is not allowed to install any applications, the same application will be clicked, but then you will launch RDS or Citrix or VMware app centralized. The end result, the user can always work. That's the full idea. The user is no longer impacted, and you can install, configure any technologies you would like it to be there. So I hope this answers that question.
Okay, and one more just came in as well. Do applications launched remotely, delivered with Liquit, have access to on-prem network drives?
So by native, we use the native technology of those apps, and also that. So no, but I think I just gave the answer away already. So yeah, we can trigger a VPN session if you like, if you need to. So yes, the answer is we can provide with that. We don't have any VPN technology ourselves native, but we are able to work with an external system to launch a VPN session without user interaction. So the user will not even know there is a VPN session. And we can do the drive mappings, we can do the printer configuration, we can do the services, configure the apps, update your browsers, and everything from anywhere. So Liquit can also run from the cloud. So we provide it as a cloud service, or for on-premise or in hybrid environments. For us, there is no difference. Cloud or on-premise, everything is the same. And with this, I hope this answers the question.
That was the last one that came in, but as I mentioned in the beginning, if you do come up with a question that we didn't cover today, please feel free to reach out, and you just saw contact details of both Chuck and Nico, so feel free to reach out to them or via the social channels, and we'd be happy to help you. I think I want to say thanks to the speakers. Thank you, Chuck, for the great session. Thank you, Nico, for all the answers to all the questions. And thank you to our audience for joining us today. And hopefully we'll speak to you soon again. Thanks so much.
Please let us know.
Appreciate it.
Please let us know if you're interested in a demo, of course, but also a light or technical webinar to do a further deep dive or further discuss anything. Reach out to Chuck or me, and we will schedule it. If a lot of people are interested, we will schedule a session with everyone. So I hope everybody enjoyed the session. Please feel free to ask more information or technical details.
Thank you,
everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.